Hello, folks. My name is Vadim Lander, and I am the Chief Identity Architect and CTO here at Broadcom Identity. And I would like to talk to you about IAM modernization we're doing here at Broadcom. So the world of IT is becoming increasingly hybrid, right? We're no longer constrained by identities and applications that are running within the enterprise, right? We're now having to construct our application ecosystems that span enterprise boundaries, our boundaries with the partners. So the world is becoming increasingly hybrid, and the modern access is increasingly contextual. And when you think about kind of how to connect all these dots, right, we have to be able to do it through standards. So the standardization and standards have become increasingly important in the identity management space because without the standards, it's very, very difficult to be able to connect various kinds of identities, identity life cycles, and application integrations together in order to be able to support the world of hybrid. You can also see that as an application infrastructure, as IT changes and becoming more hybrid, we're working with a different ecosystem, right? Our patterns are different, right? We're no longer necessarily building J2E applications. We're building microservices. We're not deploying them on the old web service. We still have them, but we're now increasingly so looking at deploying those microservices in a very scalable Kubernetes infrastructure, right? We went from enterprise network perimeter to more of identity as a perimeter. And we increasingly, as I mentioned, talk about and use standards, OpenID Connect, OAuth, SCIM, FIDO, and others that have been created and evolved over the last decade to become the centerpiece of the identity infrastructure. So very standardization is incredibly important. And so in this kind of environment, right, the identity fabric is basically a set of capabilities, right, that includes authentication, authorization, session management, right, identity services, identity provider, that are becoming centerpieces, right, of your identity ecosystem. It's these services, it's these capabilities that have to be basically woven into the fabric of your application ecosystem, which itself is becoming increasingly service-centric, microservice-based, with leveraging tokens and other kinds of programmatic interfaces in order to be able to create an omni-channel ecosystem that our customers use to access your customers use to access your services. So very, very important to understand that identity fabric is an evolution of the traditional identity and access management system where these capabilities were offered as a set of tools, but increasingly so going forward, these capabilities have to be thought of as an interoperable and integrated identity management infrastructure, right, that gives you this integration, interoperability out of the box, as opposed to having to create these services yourself and integrate them. And when you think about the world of hybrid, you also think about the broader ecosystem, right? The use of cloud, the use of various service providers, and how you build your applications and how you build your integrations. Sometimes you have identity that is local to your data center. Sometimes you have identities that you want to use from your partners or from your service providers. Sometimes you have applications running in your data center, and sometimes you have applications that are running in various providers. So how do you pull it all together, right? It doesn't really matter where these pieces are. What matters is the application infrastructure, right? Has to be able to consume this holistically and you need to be able to manage this. And that's again where the identity fabric, with its standardization of capabilities, becomes very, very important because it enables you to stitch together these interactions. As part of the identity fabric and as part of identity management in this hybrid IT world, it's very important to consider session management and risk management, because fundamentally these two components of an identity ecosystem, right, is what gives us the zero trust. It's being able to validate, right, at every place whether the identity is still valid, has been revoked, has a device been lost, right? Has an identity been disabled? Has the risk suddenly became higher? So managing the session, managing the risk, and being able to ask this question: Is the identity still valid? Is the risk still reasonable? Enables us to apply zero trust to various interactions that are taking place in the organization or in your application ecosystems. So with that, understanding kind of how the business is evolving, how the world of hybrid IT is evolving, we've been on a journey to create an identity fabric that we call Security Services Platform. And fundamentally, as I mentioned before, it's really about creating an interoperable component, right? An interoperable platform that delivers authentication, authorization, identity, and other kinds of IAM capabilities, but done so in a way that leverages a set of common relationship-centric, persona-centric data models, provides a consistent session management infrastructure, provides consistent risk management infrastructure. So basically, making sure that these capabilities, right, don't have to be integrated by you or by your partners, but rather they come pre-integrated out of the box, which ultimately delivers a significant value proposition for you guys. Now, while we've been sort of executing towards this vision, the market has taken quite a bit of a assessment of this, and the analysts have started basically describing what identity fabric is. So KuppingerCole has come out with the Identity Fabrics report, where we've been named a leader. And just recently, a couple of months ago, Gartner has taken a position on the identity fabric. And as I had mentioned, right, from their perspective, it is really the IAM functions, right, that come in a pre-integrated form, providing basically the kind of the capabilities of an identity and access management subsystem. So our identity platform, our security services platform, it really is the fabric, right? It's built out of standards. It is 100% API based, which means that you can incorporate these capabilities in any one of your applications, in any one of your systems environments, including DevOps. It was built to be highly scalable. It was built on a Kubernetes platform as a set of native identity management microservices, right? And so it was basically built from the very beginning to be to provide a cloud native, architecture on which various identity management capabilities such as authentication, risk, session, and things like that get built. So very, very flexible, very, very high performance environment built to become pretty much embeddable within the ecosystem, within your enterprise, within your application fabric. Our starting point in this security services platform is called VIP Authentication Hub, but basically it is the authentication management service, right? It provides built-in risk assessment, risk management. It is providing for all the different modern authentication factors, including passwordless, push, UTP, so very flexible authentication policy, enabling you to basically dial up or down the level of identity assurance. And of course, it supports all the relevant standards, and it makes it very easy to integrate authentication into an omni-channel ecosystem of your enterprise. So if you're taking a step back a little bit and talk a little bit more about a fabric, we kind of see our value proposition as being able to connect any identity to any application, whether it's the existing corporate identity protected by web access management, whether it's your packaged apps that are typically exposed through SAML, where you are building modern applications, right? They're probably built on now from the very beginning on open standards, right? And being able to connect any application, whether it's yours or whether you are using a service, from a cloud provider, and actually providing connectivity to cloud platform itself, being able to accept the identity, from a cloud platform or bring your identity to a cloud platform. So our vision is really to be able to help you connect in an omni-channel environment any identity to any application. And while we do that, we also know that you're not only building new apps and now heading into this brave hybrid world, but you also have existing applications, right? And so uh, we are making sure that our identity fabric can not only help as you move into sort of the new application ecosystem, but it also helps you extend and deliver valuable modern capabilities to applications and environments that you already have. So, for example, being able to bring modern passwordless authentication to your existing identities that are protected by your existing web access management solutions, such as SiteMinder. Or maybe you want to have some of your applications that are protected by API gateway. You want to move those applications into modern world, and you need more of a modern authentication management capability to do that. So we're able to extend what you already have and have it use modern capabilities, and at the same time making sure that you're not only able to use what you have, but you're also able to go where you need to go, and then that both of these worlds work the same and work in an integrated, interoperable way when it comes to identity. And so with that, I'd like to conclude and talk a little about a couple of customer segments that are in production with us. A Fortune 50 insurance company was able to deploy our identity fabric very quickly, and with that, protect their web applications as well as protect their new mobile applications that they built to create to drive deeper relationship with their consumers. A major Fortune 50 bank has taken the fabric and basically used that to create a very strong authentication ecosystem protecting certain assets. And so they used VIP Authentication Hub to provide a very secure blanket of protection. And then a telco with 10 million users was able to go in 4 months from the initial POC to production, helping them provide a step-up multi-factor authentication for their existing identities and existing web portal, but also provide same for the newer mobile applications that they had built recently. So just goes to show that the fabric can function in the context of new apps, existing apps, consumer-centric, enterprise-centric. And we also in the process of extending modern authentication to mainframes. So again, shows the power of the identity fabric, which you can incorporate into your business, no matter what specific technology your businesses may be using. With that, I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to describe, and have a good day.